Wrestling has been a huge part of my life. Since I was growing up and even up until now, I've been a huge fan of the product. But with the weekly shows come the yearly games. From the first ever WWF SmackDown game on the PS1 to WWE 2K16 on the Xbox One, I've either bought or played every SmackDown game, and this year would be no different. I've seen each developer add some amazing and unique features as well as some pointless and boring ones. But today, I would like to share my top 10 requests for this year's wrestling game. This list is in no particular order, so let's get started. Number 1. More match types. Match types is the biggest part of replayability for me, and in these past few games, the match types to choose from have become very limited. Some of the best matches that were in previous games no longer exist in these next-gen consoles, and I can't wrap my head around why. Especially since these match types happen on WWE programming. Matches such as Special Referee, I Quit, 2 vs 2 vs 2, and even the Buried Alive match all have been in, and then taken out the following year. Online Royal Rumbles also need to be brought back, as I had tons of fun throwing my friends over the top rope and giving them the classic Suck It DX taunt. Not only do we need more matches, but some, if not all, need an overhaul. I will go in depth about what match types need a change in a future video. Number 2. A bigger roster. WWE 2K16 had the biggest roster of all time, yet I was still finding myself picking the same 3 characters. The roster is one of, if not the most important part of wrestling games. Each WWE superstar should have a unique feel to them, and although WWE 2K16 had that present, not everyone felt as fun to use. WWE 2K16 had a great roster, but was missing some key superstars. Hopefully, for WWE 2K17, they keep this current roster and add a few more guys in it that were missing in previous years to make this the best roster possible. Give this video a like if you would like to hear me go in depth with what they should do with this year's roster. Number 3. Story Designer. This was a pretty underrated feature. Well, at least in my opinion. This was a mode where you were able to create and share a storyline you created. You were able to add cutscenes, matches, and dialogue to any superstar, diva, or created wrestler. If you wanted to make an all-created wrestler story, you were able to. If you wanted an all-diva story, you were able to create that as well. The freedom was all yours. I was a bit disappointed when this mode was taken out. I used to create WWE promos using real-life audio with this mode, and I no longer have the ability to do that. Not only that, I also used this mode with my friend, where I would control Raw and he would control SmackDown, and we would compete show to show to see who had the better product. This was a fun and unique mode, and I hope they bring it back in the future. Number 4. Universe Mode / GM Mode. Universe Mode is one of the most fun and unique modes that I've ever played. This was a mode where you were able to have control of your own show, book matches, feuds, and storylines, watch the computers battle out, or play it out yourself. The reason this mode was so fun for me was because I felt like I was in control of everything. From champions to rivalries, everything was at my disposal, with cutscenes happening from time to time. I really felt like I was watching a real show of Monday Night Raw that I wrote. However, at the same time, the mode felt kind of lackluster. The cutscenes were repetitive, you couldn't make a certain cutscene happen that you wanted, and injuring your opponent seemed near impossible. GM mode was kind of the same, but with some unique features. GM mode allows you to act as general manager of Raw, SmackDown, or ECW. After choosing a brand and selecting to participate in the WWE draft or using a default roster, you then start a calendar year of hiring and managing superstars and divas, booking matches, establishing rivalries, and other options to try and win the WWE fans to support your brand. Manage finances, contact or release superstars, and try to make better matches than your rival brand. However, GM mode didn't have any cutscenes, and this mode was also very repetitive. I would like to see Universe mode and GM mode combined. I think that would make for an awesome mode. Number 5. Backstage Roaming. One of the most popular and requested features is the ability to roam anywhere in the arena, all while laying the smackdown on your opponent. Backstage Roaming was last featured in WWE Here Comes the Pain, one of the best WWE games of all time, and Backstage Roaming was one of the many reasons why. Going from being inside the squared circle to ending up in the streets of New York proved that anything could and would happen. Jumping off a building or even off a helicopter was not only fun doing, but it was fun and hilarious watching. As unrealistic and arcadish as it was fun. And sometimes I think more times than not, fun should overcome realism. Backstage roaming in a realistic wrestling simulation can be done, and I would love to see them add this again in the future. Number 6. Online leagues. This is a feature I wanted for years. The ability to create an online league with all of my friends. Instead of having to create a website and then having your friends sign up, this could be a feature already in the game. This could be done sort of like NBA 2K16's online franchise mode. You invite up to 30 of your friends, and they each choose a superstar. Battle for championships, form tag teams and rivals, have epic 5-star matches, and be the best on your friends list. You could also spectate and interfere on your friends' matches. The GM makes matches, simulates the weeks leading up to the biggest event, WrestleMania. Number 7. Finishers into finishers. We've seen this happen a lot over the years on WWE programming. A superstar reversing his opponent's finisher into a finisher of his own. Yet this ability still isn't in the game. This is another gameplay element that I wanted in the game for years, ever since I seen Randy Orton catch Evan Bourne with an RKO while Evan Bourne was going for his airborne finisher. Although there are catching finishers in the game now, it's just not quite the same. I don't really get that out of nowhere feel when I hear the finisher, and I think that drama and effect could really add a lot into the game. Number 8. Weapon physics. When I first seen the trailer for WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, I was excited to see that they finally added some physics into both the superstar models and the weapons. But for some reason, every year after that, the physics have gotten worse and worse with no explanation on why. This was a huge disappointment for me because I love the weapon physics that were in SVR 11. Watching ladders break and bend when I slam my opponents on them, double stacking 2 tables and watching my opponent come crashing down, or even watching a chair dent when I bashed it against my opponent's head. I felt nothing less than enjoyment. Weapon physics and just physics in general are a big part of wrestling games. It's very deflating setting up a cool spot only for the table to not break. I hope in future games they focus a little bit more on these physics. Number 9. A better targeting system. I've been playing the WWE games for as long as I can remember, and one of my biggest issues with the games is the targeting system. I'll be in a match laying the smack it down, and out of nowhere I'd attack the referee and get disqualified. But it doesn't stop there. The targeting system gets much worse in multi-man matches. I would hit a big move on one of my opponents, then I would try to turn around to get to the other one, but it doesn't turn around. It's like I'm locked on that one person until I'm hit. This is a huge problem, especially online, and in my opinion, it makes triple threat and fatal 4-way matches unplayable. Since there is no button to change targets like there used to be, I'm stuck relying on the game, and 9 times out of 10 it fails. This is another thing that needs to be fixed greatly. Number 10. A proper season mode. Over the years, we've been introduced to some unique and different storylines, both real-life storylines and ones created by the game developers. Some have been enjoyable, and others have come up short. From season to showcase, each mode had something in common. They were fun. However, the main thing lacking was replayability. Once these modes were beaten and all the objectives were completed, there really wasn't a reason to play the mode anymore. In WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, there was a season mode where each superstar had a different and unique storyline. This made the mode replayable. You wanted to play this season with everyone to see the different outcomes and scenarios. Recently, the games have lacked a proper season mode, and even though we have career mode, not everyone, including myself, like to play as created wrestlers. I hope for the future games we get a proper season mode because it's been a long while since we had one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. My top 10 requested features for this year's Derby game. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, strike that like button, subscribe if you're new for more videos like this, comment down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts and your suggestions on what you think they should add in this year's game. This is Tempest Money from Tempest Arcade. Peace out.